It's the news review belt of the AM show. We're grateful you've taken the time to stay with us here. And our guest in the studio will connect with our other guests shortly. But Dr. Palgrave is here. He's government spokesperson on governance and security. Good morning.
Good morning, Benjamin.
I hope you're well.
I'm doing very well, thank you. And I hope you're well.
I don't think you want to ask that. You heard the conversations I was having before we went on air. So maybe it's a slippery slope for you. But I have a question.
But I should ask how you're doing.
Ghana for. I'm sure you know how I'm doing. When it comes to electricity, there's a worrying trend. Too many neighborhoods keep calling me. Yesterday, I got another 2 calls. The Spintex Nungwa area. And one area got a power outage and let's say for some hours, and then later they got another power outage. And the situation was that, they were on, I don't know, they are in between, so they get affected from both ends. And I found that pretty surprising. I don't even know whether the lights came back on. I am not ECG. No, I am not ECG, but I'm a concerned Ghanaian, and people reach out to me about some of these matters. So I don't know. What's your power situation? If you had power overnight, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. But over to you, Palgrave, your thoughts.
So a very good morning to you, sweetie, and to Benjamin and to the Ghanaian people. And yes, of a truth, there are a few challenges with power. I have been seeing that the acting managing director of ECG held a conversation over the weekend on your network and reassured Ghanaians that the payment structure to one of the IPPs has been replanned. And so hitherto paying on a monthly basis, now on a weekly basis, government is paying the particular IPPs. And so in a very short time, the following weeks, we should see that the power challenges is restored.
Okay. Would that be your brief comments for us this morning?
Brief comment on
what Ben said. Okay, but we can
so I was handing over to you to share your thoughts with us on anything pertinent that the usual bits we do.
Oh, the usual bits. Okay. Well, for me, I think that election 2024 is key. The peace of the election, the smooth transfer of power, the minimal misinformation, disinformation that is associated with it, the fact that people should go and exercise their democratic rights and franchise on the 7th of December, that no one should be intimidated whatsoever in making the decision that they make. And my hope and prayer is that the blue candidate, which is Alhaji Dr. Bawumia, would emerge as the winner in the president-elect of this election.
Okay. Brief and straight to the point. I have a Ghanaian Times newspaper, and I want to start here. At GMA graduation, President Akufo-Addo says, I will ensure smooth transition of power. And the EC has disposed of defective ballot papers. Association of Oil Marketing Companies unveil new identity as COMAG. Let's get into the papers. Radio TV presenter in trouble for allegedly publishing false news. And this is on page 3. Kumasi-based radio and television presenter has been arrested for offences, including publication of false news by the police to assist in investigation on Saturday. That's a suspect, Oneba Nana Esiedu, a presenter at Wuntumi TV and FM. We also saw the video circulated on social media, so it's good news that the police have picked him up and investigations are ongoing. It's dangerous. It's just 12 days to election to be misinforming, or in this case, disinforming
Exactly.
people. Yeah, there's a big difference.
Because it's intentional.
Informing information is just accidental, a mistake. You don't know, so you're just putting out information out there. But disinformation, you're intentionally misleading people, and that's where the danger is. Farmer jailed for 10 years for defiling 15-year-old. Driver gets 15 years for robbery, and police chase La Paz Forex Bureau attempted robbery suspect. Looks like the police have been busy. On international front, International Persons with Disability Empowerment Conference opened in Accra on Thursday, okay? Minister for Gender advocates full potential of vulnerable groups. Majority requests Speaker to recall Parliament to consider urgent government business. Let me get a bit into this. The Majority Caucus in Parliament has requested of the Speaker of Parliament, Alwyn Bagbin, to recall the House to consider urgent government businesses. A memo dated 22nd November and signed by the Majority Leader, Alexander Penyo-Markin, listed 6 items for consideration for the proposed 2-day meeting. Will the Speaker heed this call? We wait to see. And let me run through the remaining stories here, and then I'll come to you, Dr. Palgrave. At GMA graduation, I will ensure smooth transition of power. That's what the president is saying. The president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, says he will transition from office with the utmost respect for the country's democratic processes, stressing that he is committed to ensuring that the will of the citizenry prevails in the December 7th polls. Mahama ends Eastern Region campaign. Former President John Dramani Mahama, presidential candidate of the NDC, has ended his campaign tour of the Eastern Region. And Petroleum Commission awards $3.6 billion local contract, says the director. So the Petroleum Commission has so far awarded over $3.6 billion worth of contracts to indigenous Ghanaian companies. That's the Director for Local Content, PC, Mr. Kweku Boateng, has announced. Again, about $8.7 billion worth of contracts had been awarded to foreign companies, while $6.3 billion went into joint ventures. Bonkatamansu Imam Council stakeholders discuss peaceful elections, and police are ready to ensure violence-free polls. On the back page, Kotoko bounced back with a win over Indiana Stars, and Instructorman hold hats in Accra. These and many other stories you can catch in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. But Palgrave, which of these pique your interest, and which one will you reflect on?
So, I think 3 things for me. The president's commitment for smooth transition of power, very key, and he's reiterated that over and over again. And that's very commendable by the president. And finally, for me, would be Parliament's recall. I think that there are urgent matters that must be attended to, government businesses, and so we look forward to Speaker Bagbin heeding to the call. And finally, the strong stance of the police to really tackle mis and disinformation. I mean, for me, I think that is very key. Last week, the Election Security Task Force met, and the IGP was very forthright in stating that he's the commander for this election, and he's going to fight head-on anyone that mis and disinforms the public. And so we commend the piece by the police, and also we know there's a lot of work, and treat that everybody, please, I mean, in the serenity of peace, try not to mis and disinform the Ghanaian people.
You said 3 things. I said...
Yeah, I mentioned all the 3.
Benjamin, let's do your paper now.
Well, let's get into the Daily Graphic newspaper quickly. President commissions Oil Service Center in Takoradi. Ibrahim Mahama pays for 10-year-old leukemia patients treatment in South Africa. There's this quote there by Plato, who says, one of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. It's on the front page. One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. Election 2024. Who takes the central region? There's an interesting piece here giving the historical antecedents of these elections, with the NPP scoring more wins in that region. Recall Parliament for 2-day urgent business, Majority Leader urges Speaker, and IGP leads police delegation to foster close relationship with churches. On the back page, of course, Kotoko end losing streak with 2-0 win. Kerala United shock Dreams FC at home, and Hearts of Oak held by Nswatreman FC. So let's get the details of the stories. The Central Region, like Greater Accra, is one of the most sought-after electoral prizes for the Jubilee House in this year's election due to its inconsistent voting pattern. The region, seen by many as a key unpredictable die for its unclear party loyalty, has historically swung between the 2 major political parties, the NPP and the NDC. So without boring you with all the details in there, you would see that from 1996, the NPP secured some 43.32%, with the NDC securing 55+%. In 2000, it was 49.67% for the NPP, and then about 48+ for the NDC. Then the NPP won it in 2004 with about 58%, 2008 with 50% plus. The NPP fell in 2012, 45% plus, one again in 2016, 53% plus, and in 2021 again with 52% plus. So if you look at the tail of the tape, it's an interesting region. And no matter how crucial other regions like Ashanti, Volta, Bono, and other areas may be, the central region is crucial in there. Kenya Council's $2.5 billion deal with Adani after U.S. indictment, and heavy gunfire erupts in South Sudan's capital of Juba. Let me do a few more local stories, and then I will get Doc to react to them. Let me go to page 16. We are taking decisive action on illegal mining, President assures nation. President Akufo-Addo has given the assurance that his government has taken decisive action on illegal mining, otherwise known as galamsey, to avert the destruction it is causing the nation. As part of the efforts, he said the government had adopted technological innovations, including a drone surveillance, as well as community partnership. I don't know, since you are the spokesperson on governance and security-related matters, which drones is the president speaking of? The drones that we can't find, the 200 for $3 million, or these are new drones we are contracting for that purpose? Which is it?
Well, I mean, I haven't read the story, but
okay. Well, I thought you would. That's why maybe let me see whether we'll get those details. Okay, I think just, he said this at the University of Environment and Sustainable Development. So I guess it was a comment in passing. Maybe he didn't get into those details. At least I don't see that here. Yeah. Any reactions on these?
Well, I think it's interesting for this year's election, the percentages that are coming out from the various regions, and even surveys and reports that are coming out from researchers. It's a very close-knit election, and we just hope that we get the best candidate, a good ethical leader to be able to lead this country. And we've seen the surveys and the predictions, very close-knit. But
how confident are you in yourself?
For me, I think I will take the stance of President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo when he makes a statement that the best survey is on the day of the election, and that the polls may be able to predict, but on that very day of the election, people would make decisions. But I'm confident that Alhaji Dr. Bawumia would emerge the president-elect.
Sweetie, do you know what I find interesting? Some people have said that, it could go into a runoff. Similar things were said about the American election. I disagree. It's not going to even be close. I think whoever wins is going to win with...
And what are you inferring this from? What are you basing this on?
Oh, based on my interactions with people.
Okay.
Based on going out there, feeling the temperature of people's pockets and different things, based on so many different dynamics. I don't want to get into them. But I don't feel it's going to be... I mean, I could be wrong. But I don't feel this election will go into a runoff. This is me speaking for myself. I don't feel it is. And I feel the margin is going to be clear enough for whatever,
I would have
purposes.
said it would be a very tight contest. But then
I
again, I want
so.
to leave my opinion out of this.
I don't think so.
Let's see what happens.
Same thing we said with, Trump and Kamala, it's measuring, he showed her, he showed her level. I mean, though I was rooting for her. But let me just wrap with this. Politics, building trust, road to election 2024. So a number of people, including someone I know, Prosper Kwashi Sosoi, shares his thoughts there. He says, ensuring a free, fair and transparent process is paramount. The EC plays a vital role in achieving this, but trust and consensus among political parties are essential for smooth and credible electoral processes. So you can check out details from there. Look out for umbrella on election day. Mahama urges voters. That's partly on the back of some of those seeking to disinform. Campaign on issues, not insults. NCCE to parliamentary candidates. And the NCCE waded into that, Ohneba, the Wuntumi presenter's issue, with a statement. Women advised not to stay in violent relationships. Pacho, Obawasum first one, likely a second one will continue. No, but Palgrave, on a more serious note, from experience, psychologically, though I've read reports where, look, if he starts beating you, unless it's some blip, it's some whatever, if the trend goes on for a while, Charlie, because I've seen people, my church is against divorce completely, but I've seen situations where, Charlie, I've had to tell the person, you know, the next thing is likely death. So at this point, I don't think God wants you to die. So I don't know. That thing, I feel very...
I don't think you shouldn't wait. You should wait for a trend to even set. The first sign you see, the first feeling.
Exactly what I'm saying.
You have a gut feeling that this isn't good for you. You run. Now, please, if someone beats you, beat him all. I'm saying, like,
fire for fire, eh?
Listen, I think the shock from, retaliating like that will let the person think twice, and then you can decide to whether leave or stay.
So it's the counter-bullying theory.
That is what,
when they bully you and then you bully them back.
Empowering women, we're talking about also you should take some classes, exercise, be strong. So when he lands one punch, you land two. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Under no circumstances,
Please
really. Under no circumstances, really should. Either genders, either male or female, wreak such havoc on a human being.
Yeah.
I am against domestic violence and an advocate for that. And so please.
Especially as someone who is trained in martial arts, you would have no business. As for you, boxers, if a boxer does anything.
There's no way anyone should be involved in domestic violence. It's dehumanizing. Please.
All right.
Let's get into your paper and then I'll come through with the final one I have.
So on the Daily Guide, the front page, Nana outdoors 100-kilometer Teman Pakadan railway line, MPP better managers of the economy, Dr. Razak Poku, I will leave legacy of peaceful elections, the IGP, Ekufu Dampari exchanging greetings with some members of the clergy during his tour of churches in Accra, Mike Okwe Jr. gives Adentrebe community water, and then former Bono NPP organizer donates motorbikes constituency. 10-year-old leukemia patient gets support. And their inside stories of let's protect peace and security legacy. Nana, I will leave a peaceful election, the IGP. Campaign season songs, the butterflies, political flight, and the winds of change. A few more stories. 10-year-old leukemia patient gets support. And I really would want to commend the donor, Ibrahim Mahama, for this kind gesture. It's really commendable. Vote for Bawumia, Kene Japan, Nana Outdoors 100-kilometer Tema Pakadan railway line, which is extremely commendable as well. Bawumia paints Wale Wale blue, and I'll just go into that story quickly. The Wale Wale township came to a standstill when their kinsman and son, Vice President Dr. Bawumia, went there to campaign. Even before Dr. Bawumia, the flag bearer of the ruling NPP in the December 7th elections and members of his campaign got there. The entire community had been painted in the white, blue, and red colors of the NPP. He was given, okay, so let me just jump to the main story, which was the commissioning of the One District, One Factory watermelon processing plant. So before they could get there to Wale Wale through the lottery, to commission a Wale Wale processing factory under the One District, One Factory initiative, the over-enthusiastic youth once again beset the streets. I just want to get to the main story. Wale Wale factory, watermelon factory in Wale Wale, the project that was expected to process about 2,400 tons of the produce into concrete annually. Over 2,000 farmers will be engaged under the first phase of the project, which comes under the government's One District, One Factories initiative, with a targeted 2,000 acres of farmlands for watermelon. Phase 1 of the project will bring together 2,000 peasant farmers from across the Northeast region into a cooperative for an outgrower scheme. And we must commend government for this. Senate Seed countrywide tours end in Accra. Edu Chum is Minister of the Year by the Nooks president, and we commend the Minister for Education, especially when last week in a single day was able to commission 80 infrastructural progress with President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Astronomical. Yeah. The back page, TT Brothers whip for the Ghana football, Mourinho rubbishes Ronaldo move. So this is my paper.
Okay. I do want to get your thoughts on something. So, the commentary coming in after the completion of the Flower Pot interchange, and I just heard you talk about the Pakadan railway and all that. Would you agree that it's taking, I read a story, was it last week, Benjamin, read a story about tortoise pace in completion of projects, and so on and so forth.
Took about, is it 6+ years?
Years to complete.
And the project moved from, was it 69 million Ghana cedis to 700 million?
Right. But I just want to know what you think about the commentary that you could have completed and commissioned all these projects somewhere years before we are now here in December 2024 going to the polls, and maybe it's the showmanship of it that we've done some work. How do you respond to critics who say something like that?
For me as a governance student and a student of politics, there are tenors within which people have leadership, and in Ghana we have a 4-year tenor. I disagree with the schools of thoughts that people will state that government is either commissioning close to electioneering processes or government is either commissioning a day two of transition of power, because the governance process hasn't ended. And if government has been building all throughout the years and it's just completing at the time that is closer to an election, people would think that it is because of the election that government is commissioning.
So it's a coincidence?
But no, I don't want to say it's a coincidence, but government hasn't ended. Government doesn't come to a standstill because it's an electioneering year. Government doesn't come to a standstill because government is transitioning into another government or transitioning power. And so we need to be able to look at that. And I heard Benjamin talk about the amount of money that was spent. And so let me just give some breakdown, because there was an original overview and government had a bit.
We've done the story about any expansions.
So there's no need for me to go into.
No, it's not that there's no need, but even with the expansions, are we getting value for money? There's a tussle between, is it the NRA and what's the other group? I've forgotten their name. I can check on it. But I think more transparency in these issues, because especially when I raised this point, I wasn't even talking about just that project. There are so many projects, and you remember the famous issues of MTN building certain classrooms under the former administration, certain classrooms for a certain cost, similar. And then government also putting up those same classrooms and the cost. It's the same bit that I'm talking about. That why is it that when it comes to public procurement is one of the most corrupt areas in this country. It's one of the areas that if any administration really wants to look at, one of the foremost, and you know it as a governance person, the reports point to it. Why is it that for a project that maybe a private individual would be able to put up for 1 million Ghana cedis, government would do the same project and put it up for about 3 million Ghana cedis? But if
what you have is a breakdown that explains the discrepancy, I'm curious to know what the explanation is.
Thank you very much, sweetie.
Where is this from, though, the source?
This is from government.
From government?
Yes, government did this. And so if I have to put it out, it's from government.
Okay.
So this is from government. So the flower pot...
This explains the discrepancies we are seeing in the figure that...
No, the figure is accurate, but this explains the details of it, okay? Right. And so if you... I will make it very brief. I mean, so the original cost, of course, was 2 overpasses. The first one is about a 60-meter overpass across the flower pot roundabout, and then the second one was a 60-meter overpass across the motorway, and both were 2 lanes, and the original cost was 69 million Ghana cedis. And when we had to do the full scope of it, the final one is the main bridge of 802 meters, largely 4 lanes. The Shiashi ramp, 140 meters, 1 lane. The motorway slip ramp, 80 meters, 1 lane. The road through the old tunnel, the 200 meters access into cantonments, the dualization of the 2.5 kilometer of ground levels, and incorporating 2 roundabouts with the fountain and street lights and the street furniture. And that brings us to about 677 million Ghana cedis. And so it's important that when you review...
Let me ask.
Can I finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's important that when you review projects and you add on to it, you come to account it to the Ghanaian people. I mean, any other government could have just decided that, well, this is the amount of money that we felt we could spend, 69 million Ghana cedis, but value for money, we can do a lot more, that there's no need to come again and reshape the roads. And so if government has spent this and it's accounting for it, 677 million Ghana cedis, not 700 million Ghana cedis.
Nearly. So
no,
the difference
it's
between
609
million
it's 600. No, but look at
the figures that were put out in the papers, including the daily graphic when we read this story, was 700 million.
Yeah, but you
but look at the expansions. Originally it was two lanes. It was a second speed ramp.
Let me interject for a bit. If you were in opposition, would this surprise you?
It would not surprise me.
Thank you.
Right.
Benjamin.
I guess you've asked a very pertinent question, but I have two quick thoughts on this. One, the point being that if it had been done earlier, and I believe this project could have been completed a long time ago, the people who use the flower pot area obviously would have had, because I've had people also call me and say that, oh, traffic is better on that stretch now. It's very easy flying that stretch, right? So if it could have been done, let's say 4 years before, 5 years before, why not? Because then I'm sure, definitely, would have been able to save on the money we've expended. Because if we had done this 5 years earlier, with the fluctuations we've seen with our currency, this would have been before COVID, would have got a better value for money. And people could have used it and saved themselves some hassle. However, I agree with Palgrave. Governance goes till the last day, till January the 6th and even entering January the 7th. Anything can go. So whether it is cosmetic, whether it is for votes, whatever it is still legitimate. But I just feel that if parties could do better on that and not wait till electoral years, it would be better.
Okay, let me get into the Daily Searchlight. There's just one story here that I really want to get into. The fireworks in Closag. Leadership under fire over 500,000 accusations. So the leadership of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, that's CLOSAC, has come under intense scrutiny as two senior members of the association accused the Executive Secretary, Mr. Isaac Bampoado, and Acting President, Mr. Benjamin Otu, of fraudulent activities. A petition filed by the National Executive Council alleges the illegal withdrawal of 500,000 Ghana cedis from CLOSAC's main account without authorization, and the petition signed by Mr. Ernestego, Acting National Treasurer, and Mr. Emmanuel Akwa, Acting First National Trustee, demands an immediate investigation into the alleged misconduct, which they claim violates the association's constitution and financial principles. So what's happening there? I just want your quick reflections on this, and then that will be it. But before you come in, let me just get these headlines out from the Daily Searchlight. Gold Keys construction of the Bank Square affirms capabilities of local businesses. Jospong Group, Usain Gishu, County boosts sanitation services in Kenya. Trump completes cabinet with agricultural secretary nomination, and developing nations blast $300 billion COP29 climate deal as insufficient. I think they were gunning for somewhere between $500 billion, and what they were offering was 2 point something, about half of that. But Palgrave, your take on CLOSAC and if these other stories pique your interest?
Well, I mean, sweetie, I'm not a member of CLOSAC.
Yeah, but you're a government spokesman. I just
I'm
you have 500,000 gone missing. Well, I'm
not a member of CLOSAC, and so I can't put my mouth into CLOSAC issues.
How does it make you feel?
I'm indifferent, honestly. That's the truth.
Why are you indifferent?
I'm indifferent. I'm indifferent. Don't probe any further. I'm indifferent.
Do you think that if our systems were working and, the structures in place were deterring stuff like this, people could get into an institution's coffers and withdraw 500,000 Ghana cedis without proper authorization? What's
Sweetie, I'm not a member of CLOSAC. I mean, CLOSAC is an association. But CLOSAC is an association. I don't understand anything that happens there. I mean,
Benjamin.
But I needed to just make a comment on Zoom Lion in Kenya. I think it's extremely commendable that we can have Africans within Africa aiding in Africa's own development and cleanliness. And so I commend Zoom Lion.
Okay. Last paper from you.
I'll just do, in addition, page 63, opinions divided over Otuado's future. What's your take on that?
Otuado?
Yeah.
The coach for Black Stars.
So you're not a GFA, right? So you can't comment on that.
No, you know, I listen.
In the GFA.
No, but I mean, let's be real here. I listen to Otuado. I listen to the media in terms of the questioning after the football match. You know, I think we signed a contract with coaches over a period of time. You know. That would help them be able to do what they have to do. But I mean, for me, my real goal is that we want to see the Black Stars that we know. Because football is one of the things that connects all of us. So we want to see the Black Stars that we will know. We want to see a lot more vibrancy. We want to see a lot more competition. We want to go to the World Cup. We want to win AFCON. When you are not winning any of these, then you don't have a Black Star, basically. And so GFA should do better.
Supreme newspaper, leaked document exposes Mahama as he plans to sell Ghana's oil to Russian oligarchs. This story came and went, and apparently it's back. Asian African Consortium assures investors of sustainable rice production food security. Nene Tete Waka. 9 others to stand trial on November 26th as kingmakers push for fast trial. Political parties commit to fighting HIV and AIDS as they enter social contracts with Garnet. And unlike Mahama, Bawumia respects voters. Supreme newspaper, you might as well put the tense properly, respects voters. That's according to Kuka. But let's look at these stories. So, leaked document exposes Mahama as he plans to sell Ghana's oil to Russian oligarchs. Allegations have emerged against John Dramani Mahama, flag bearer of the NDC. A document intercepted by this paper has indicated that in his desperation to win the 2024 elections, John Mahama signed a memorandum of understanding with some Russian oligarchs and in exchange for interference in our electioneering process to the advantage of the NDC. In the said MOU, the oligarchs would provide financial and logistical support and manipulate the elections to propel John Mahama to power. This came into the fray some weeks back, and there's no such documentation that I have seen to back this up. But of course, Supreme newspaper says they have intercepted documents. Hopefully they can show those documents. Then there's also on page 3, the former Ifija Kwabre South constituency chairman of the MPP, Chairman Odenehu Kwikwapia, popularly known as Koka, has stated that unlike former President John Dramani Mahama, the MPP's presidential candidate, Dr. Bawumia, respects voters. He says, let's look at the 2 main contenders in this year's election, former President Mahama, Vice President Bawumia. Which one is respecting to voters? It is obviously Dr. Bawumia. That is why he has made it a point to visit every constituency in the country. And so that is what he bases respect on, the fact that he's paid a visit to every constituency in the country. Quick reflections. Let me start with you.
So, Benjamin, I mean, I don't think you should have even read this leaked document. It's not necessary.
I know, but I mean, it's a paper I have this morning, and I was, but we all know this is. Yes, but I don't know whether to call it fake news because we know it's not.
Benjamin, the real goal about not propagating is that, I mean, the fact that it's there doesn't mean it should be read, because I mean, I
wouldn't have, but it's my second paper.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not an important conversation, to be honest. For me, I think that Ghana is a very serious country. There's no way any individual can sign Ghana's minerals or anything to any foreign person. It's a sovereign country, and so we should discredit this to the high.
But that's why I stated, you know, that they don't have any documents to back this up. But it's their banner headline. You see, but it points to a more important conversation of some media entities.
Yeah, I mean,
print, TV, radio. Yeah. And some of these, which is why I did the story, actually, to point to the fact that, you know, people, and you see, sweetie, we've had people come, and sometimes when you push for evidence, it becomes a tug of war.
They should be careful, because you see, we are entering a very, very competitive electioneering, and so whatever news that you put out there, remember, the Ghana Police Service will call you.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. So there's no need putting out this information, and it's to both sides. I mean, everyone should try to be very circumspect.
Right. So let me put this out as a way of informing our cherished audience that the Electoral Commission has disposed of defective ballot papers just to install, confidence, hopefully, in citizenry. So the Electoral Commission last Thursday disposed of defective ballot papers from the Ahafo and Volta regions due to serialization errors. We got that story about how some printing presses here in Ghana, had some serialization issues. They had to print manually and all that. So if they have actually burned everything, and there were reps from NDC, NPP, and some independent observers.
Our journalists were on hand.
Yeah. So just to let you know that if you heard about the serialization issue and you don't have an update, you should know that the EC has disposed of defective ballot papers. I thought that's important to put out.
Two quick thoughts on that bit, though. One, if the error was from the standpoint of the printing houses, what is their liability? The Ghanaian taxpayer shouldn't just pay for someone's silly mistake.
Right.
You have to have, because they're getting paid. It's not for free. So if we are going to have to do this again and you are liable, what's your liability to? We should know. I think these are some of the transparency issues that sometimes come up, and we should be open about them. But on a jovial note, it appears no matter what the EC does, some people will take them on. So when they burnt the thing, then some people were also saying, they are polluting the environment. And I was like, hey, the EC can't do anything right.
No, but we are talking about climate change, and we should be conscious and all that. Isn't there a way to, how do you say? You can, I don't know, shred it, anything you can do.
Because some too had said that, look, if the EC says, oh, we've got this incinerator, we bent it, people will say, hey, we didn't see which ones, some were left, so all of those in there. Ours is a very interesting country.
My thoughts are that this shouldn't have happened, honestly.
Okay.
What shouldn't have happened?
The printing houses shouldn't have made a mistake with the serialization. The fact that they made a mistake with the serialization and they proceeded to submit the ballot papers to Electoral Commission for Electoral Commission to deploy that, it shouldn't have happened. And so I'm glad the EC has banned that. But we should have some more investigations into some of these things. Because if you've been given a contract, I'm aware that our ballot papers are printed by printing houses that have a lot more security. Okay, it's just like the way our examinations are printed with a lot more security. And so if you have serialization issues, you should have rectified that before bringing it to the Electoral Commission, and allow the Electoral Commission to now deploy it and then realize that you have serialization issues. And so it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened.
But they've taken care of it. So
I'm glad they have taken care
of it.
But my thoughts are that this shouldn't have happened.
All right. Well, it's 12 days to elections. Final words?
Okay, you go first.
Peaceful election. We want a peaceful election. We want the Ghanaian people to make a good decision, to elect an ethical leader, to elect an innovative leader, and to give the Ghanaian people the leadership that they deserve in terms of continuity. And I would ask that they vote for number 1 on the ballot, for Alhaji Dr. Bawumia.
Which constituency was it that you contested in?
Ibuakwa North constituency.
Ibuakwa North. Are you going to support the MPP's candidate?
I was there over the weekend. I'm there every now and then. And so we're winning the Ibuakwa North constituency and a lot more constituencies.
But that's a mainstay constituency, right?
It's the
mainstay MPP constituency.
Yeah, it's an MPP stronghold. Yes, and we'll forever.
But you're still helping to ensure that.
Absolutely, I've been there.
Massively there.
We are winning massively. I've been there all throughout.
All
throughout, yeah.
For me, I'd like to say a very good morning to my niece in Kumasi, Nanekia. You know why I'm shouting you out this morning. God bless and keep you and stay strong. And then, Nanadjo Abena, you also know why I'm shouting you this morning. Have a good morning. I hope you woke up well today. Have a wonderful day. And that's it for me. Do
you remember Minal Meiri Jasol?
Huh?
Minal, the young lady who watches us every morning. Today is her birthday. Minal
Meiri
Jasol. That is Godfrey Seidu Jasol's daughter. I understand she loves watching us, and today is your birthday. Happy birthday, darling. This is a message from your dad. Today you turn 10. And he's wishing you great, your best years ahead. You're so adorable. He's wishing you the very best. And we here also wishing you the very best, Minal. 10 years old, smart young lady. Happy birthday. And hopefully we'll get to see you one day in person. And I want to say thank you to everyone who showed up for the Girl Get Up seminar, to our sponsors, GCB. Thank you so much to the entire team, Victoria, Angela, Francisca, Linda, Mabel. Thank you all so much for making it a great event. And watch the space. There's a lot more coming from Girl Get Up Africa. Thank you.
Well, I want to end by saying that your dress is really nice. I don't know who made it for you.
With my phone case.
You're matching with your phone case. I can't believe we are talking about. Anyway, thank you very much, Dr. Palgrave Wachidankwa, for joining the conversation. He is government spokesperson on governance and security. He joined us this morning. But sports is coming your way up next. You want to stay for that.